What's going on, everybody? It's Austin Holloman here in Asuncion, Paraguay, with a good friend of mine, Jason, who's also from the United States. And we have been hanging out here in Paraguay a lot, and he knows a lot about Latin America, dating in Latin America, living in Latin America. I guess you could say crime in everything Latin America. We're going to discuss that because this is one of my favorite continents in the world, one of my happiest places to be. And I want to get just some insider information from another opinion or another person's, I'm gonna clip that, another person's opinion on what they think about living here on the continent and a little bit about itself. So would you tell everybody your name and where you're from?
I'm Jason. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I've been traveling Latin America for about 2 years. Started in Colombia, Medellin, and learned Spanish, and then came back 2 years later after the pandemic and everything.
Mm.
And got tired of Medellin because there's so many fucking gringos there, and went to Brazil. And then after Brazil, came to Paraguay, checked out Argentina.
What got you into traveling?
My first travel trip, I got my passport probably in 2000. What was that? 2011, and then I went to Europe for the first time.
Set up straight.
Yeah. I spent about 3 months in Europe.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I wasn't looking for girls or anything back then. It was just like traveling the world, checking shit out.
Okay. So how would you describe your first experience in Medellin?
I kind of already knew what to expect because I had some friends down there, but it was amazing, man. Like, the girls just treat you completely different. As soon as I got off the plane, there was a girl waiting for me. I was on dates like pretty much every night. The girls are way more cooperative. My Spanish wasn't good back then, but it really didn't matter. This was kind of before a bunch of like gringos showed up to Medellin, so the girls still had that like the gringo wow factor.
And you say that's gone now.
It's they don't really care that you're a gringo, but they're still easier to deal with than dealing with girls in the United States.
Okay. And what was your experience like with dating Western women, U.S. women? People know mine, but what is yours now that you've traveled and you've been in the United States as well?
My experience with women in the United States?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just impossible. It takes like a fucking month to meet a girl. Like if you want to get laid, it takes like a month of running around, using the apps, cold approaching, and then you get like a 6 or something.
What would you say is the biggest difference that you notice in between dating in the U.S. versus dating somewhere like Paraguay or Colombia?
What is the biggest difference?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just not going to get feminine women in the States. Like, good luck finding a girl who's going to clean your house, cook for you, make you coffee in the morning.
It is
They're
not
just
that we can't do
masculine.
those things ourselves.
It's like dealing with a dude in the States.
Yeah. I would say, and we spoke about this earlier, that whenever I'm dealing with women here, they make you feel special. They make you feel special. They're sweet. They don't argue. I mean, yes, that doesn't mean you'll never argue, but it's not like in the States where you say the wrong thing and, oh, you're objectifying women. You're like, what the hell? I didn't even think that would be offensive to somebody, but now you're about to go down a rabbit hole with this chick, and then it's just it's the best way to shrivel your dick up. Let's just say that. Soften me up.
A date with a girl in the United States feels like a job interview.
Yeah.
Like they'll literally like ask you like, what do you do for a living? Where do you live? What school did you go to? It's like they're trying to cancel you out.
Yeah. And women naturally disqualify because they have more options, but it's like they want to disqualify you. Like they want to find something wrong with you. And if they don't find something wrong with you, there must be something wrong with you.
I've been down here for like 2 years and you honestly just forget. And then I'll go back to like see my family or whatever. And then I'll talk to some girls and they'll be like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm not even mad at them anymore. Like at first, when you first travel overseas, you're like, man, I'm fucking pissed. Like nobody told me it was like this over here. They all said, you know what everybody says? They're like, oh, if you go over there, you're going to pay for it. Like it's all prostitutes over there.
No.
And it might be like somewhere like Medellin, somewhere like Colombia, there's definitely a lot of prostitutes and shit, but all of Latin America is not.
It's not the same.
No.
Colombia is nothing like Uruguay. Uruguay is nothing like Chile. Chile is nothing like Brazil culturally or anything. They're all completely different. So if you guys are thinking that Latin America is the same, do your research on each individual country and see which one is right for you.
Yeah, every country is completely different over here.
Yeah, because to me, Brazil is still number one, but other places in the continent are not that far off. I mean, nowhere's like Brazil.
And each city might be different. Like,
yeah.
All you guys keep going to these like capital cities, like, let's just go to Medellin because your boys are there, and you're like, I don't want to learn the language or whatever reason. I mean, it is more fun in those big cities, but if you're going for dating, you kind of have to be the first one to go to some of these second tier cities.
Yeah, that's why Salvador was a better experience. I loved Rio. Rio changed my life, but Salvador was an even better experience to me because you would run into chicks and say, oh, I've never met a gringo.
Honestly, I don't even want to be saying this because I don't want to tell everybody the secret spots, but literally just like open up a map and be like, does that place have, almost 1 million people?
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah.
Take the risk of it being boring.
Yeah, but people won't do that because they're afraid to travel to these. They think they're going to waste their time and their money. And until they get tired of these main spots like Rio, Medellin, they actually decide. I mean, it's just like going to the United States. Brazil's a big country just like the United States. It's like only going to Miami and thinking that if you go to Orlando, it won't be the same experience or even better experience for you. There's other cities in one state by itself.
Yeah, but you're going to get the better girls that are actually interested in a smaller town or just like an unknown place. Because Medellin was like no foreigners wanted to go there. And then like around 2016 or something, all of a sudden more foreigners started going. But if you got there before like the big rush, like I had a friend who was telling me that girls in Medellin, he would tell them like, I don't speak Spanish very well. I don't live near any restaurants. Like, can you just come over to my apartment? And they would just come over.
Really?
Yeah. And now in places like Medellin, it's almost like you're in the States. Like you're gonna have to take her to like a nice restaurant. You have to take her on multiple dates. Your Spanish better be fucking good.
Wow.
But say you go to like, I don't know, man. I feel like if I tell anybody these cities, it is what it is. But like I have a friend who's in Bucaramanga. There's no gringos over there.
Yeah.
You'll be the first fucking guy from the United States she meets.
Wow. Yeah, so guys just gotta but in order to do that, you have to learn the language and you gotta learn some street smarts because a lot of you guys are getting drugged.
Yeah, you know what? This isn't for everybody. I feel like on YouTube, like a lot of the passport bro shit, they try to like be like, yeah, it's easy. Like it's not supposed to be easy, man. Like if you can't hang with this, people are like, oh, I don't want to learn a new language. Or they'll be like, do I have to learn a new language? Like, okay, if you ask that question, just like, you're done. Like, just don't go.
Yeah, limit yourself to Kenya and parts of Africa and Thailand and the Philippines. If you don't want to learn a second language, go to those countries where you don't have to learn a second language. But honestly,
I would rather you not go. I don't want to see a bunch of fucking gringos down here.
It's
don't
great to learn a second language though.
It's fine. Just stay in the States.
You've been to Colombia, Brazil,
Paraguay,
and Argentina, and soon Bolivia. So he's heading to Bolivia with me, so I won't be alone this time, you guys. So let's go over dating in each country. Give me a generalized statement of what it was like for you to date in Argentina.
I only did like 10 days in Argentina, but I thought Argentina was going to be harder because I lived in Miami for a while and there's a shit ton of Argentinians.
Yeah.
But when I didn't go to Buenos Aires. See, you guys are all going to go to fucking Buenos Aires. I went to another city, which I'm not even going to name it, but just a second tier city. And, all I did was get on Tinder and I went out with a good amount of girls and got sex, and it was easier than I thought because people were telling me like, oh, those girls want to make you wait. But for me, it was like all first date sex.
So they weren't flaky at all?
They were flaky.
So how many times did you have to set a date when you were in that city in Argentina before you actually got to meet with them?
See, what I do is before I go to a city, I'll set my Tinder location there and start talking to as many girls as I can possibly handle.
Mm-hmm.
And then just tell them all, like, I want to meet up with you and, like, keep the conversation going. And what I'll do in a place where I know it's flaky or I've heard that it's flaky is I'll set up, like, 2 or 3 dates for the same night. You know what I mean? And then just flake on with them.
Okay.
That's kind of what I did, and some of them I didn't. If it's like a really hot chick, I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance with this. But they were in Argentina. The girls that were interested started doing shit like calling me. They were like, let's get on FaceTime so we know.
Clear indicators of interest.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But it's not as bad as like people like, I've heard a lot of people say Argentina, they hated dating Argentina for some reason.
yeah, so when I was in Buenos Aires, there was plenty of beautiful women there. I wouldn't put them at the top of the list for South America, but there was plenty of beautiful women there, fit women. If you like surgery and stuff like that, they had that there too. And they would be friendly to talk to. And I didn't really get any, some black people like to say it was racist. I didn't experience that really at all from the women in Argentina until the last time I was at the airport a few weeks ago. But I wasn't there. That was just at the airport.
Wait, what happened there?
Yeah, the chick, I don't know if I misunderstood. I didn't. Now, one, it may have been a misunderstanding.
No.
The other one was for sure some bullshit. Like, I was going through immigration and she was so smiley and helping me and enthusiastic. And she walked over here, she grabbed her coworker to take me to the checkpoint I need to go to. And she was like, hey, nigga. And I was like, I was like, maybe it's because Spanish is my third language. Maybe
They
she
call
might have
each
said
other
something
that
else.
in Colombia.
But in TikTok, they said if somebody calls you nigga, then it's not in an offensive way. And I thought about it and they said, I was like, she was nice. Maybe I don't know, but then I can't say anything because we say it in our music, so you can't really get too offended.
Yeah, but it's their language.
Yeah, and it is their language too. So you never know what. But I brushed that one off. I went to the restaurant. Yeah, I went to the Outback Steakhouse, and I asked the lady, "Hey, can I have a table here?" She's like, "Oh, none of the tables are available. The bar is available."
Oh shit.
And so I looked around, and all the tables were either occupied or dirty. I went and sat at the bar. No problem. I just want to eat. I don't care anyway. I don't need a table. That would just been cool. There's an older white guy behind me, probably 60 years old, and he said the same thing. Hey, table for one. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me literally fucking instantly. Let me clean the table off. And I was like, that dude was right behind me. Why didn't she say that? I don't give a fuck. Whatever. But I just noticed it. I would still go back to Argentina, but I just took note of that. But the women back to what I was saying, the women in Argentina, they would show high interest and they would converse with me and text me, set up a date, disappear the day of the date.
They'll tell you that there too. Like, this is normal. Everybody cancels all the time. They're like, what's the problem? I mean, that is a thing in Argentina.
Yeah, even when I tried to get an apartment here in Paraguay, here at the Sky Tower, it was owned by an Argentine, and literally she had me paying cash. I got all the way to the Western Union. I seen the apartment, got all the way to the Western Union, had the agent he had the papers ready for me to sign. And then literally I'm like, okay, I'm about to come over there to drop off the money and sign the paperwork. She changes her mind. Okay, sorry you guys, we had to go inside the apartment. It's like 105 degrees here in Asuncion, but we were talking about that Argentine women will disappear right before the date. They'll show super high interest right in your face, and then they'll disappear, and then they'll hit you up the next day.
Yeah, they'll
like,
keep going.
oh, like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, what do you mean what's going on? Like, you didn't see that I reached out to you yesterday? We had plans. And like you were saying, people in Argentina say that, oh, this is normal. Like, that's just a normal thing.
I think what it is, man, like, is they have a lot of friends there. Like, their friend group is like really big.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's just a lot of plans, especially big cities. That's what you're up against is like, there's always a concert. There's always somebody's birthday. Like, it's a big city. But I think that's their culture is like friends are really important. So they fucking cancel on you. But they'll keep talking to you. It doesn't mean it's over. It's just like you're going to have to get in. Or just, I think it's also normal for you to cancel. I think the next time I go there, I'll just be like, oh, sorry, I made other plans. I thought it was normal here. That's what you guys told me. So, but there's plenty of girls there, man. And it's not like dealing with the Argentinian girls in Miami. Because those chicks, as soon as they get off the plane, like give them 2 weeks and she's a Miami girl now.
Yeah, so you think chicks, South American, Latinas going to Miami changes majority of them almost instantly.
Yeah, I met that girl in the mall here in Paraguay, and she spoke English, and she's like, "Yeah, I've lived in Miami for 2 years." Like
She sounded American.
she started flirting with me with that like banter shit that American girls do.
Yeah.
We're like talking shit to each other.
And that's fun for a few minutes, and then after a while, it gets stressful.
It
Like,
was cool. I liked it because it was like, oh yeah, I remember this, like the witty banter. But I was like, yeah, this girl is she's a Miami girl now.
yeah. Okay. So, what would you say dating in Colombia was like? How would you generalize dating in Colombia?
Man, okay. So there's some really good girls in Colombia. Um, but there's like they're a little bit two-faced there. Like you got the super good, like from a good family Catholic girls that you're gonna have to go on like 3 dates with to fuck. And then there's the gold diggers and the prostitutes. Like there's girls in Colombia that you'll be going out with for weeks, and then all of a sudden she'll ask for like uh 50 mil, which is like $10 or some shit.
Hmm.
And you'll be like, okay, whatever, here's a little lunch money. But then she'll keep asking for that. And then she might even like increase it. Like they'll try to see what they can get out of you. They're not necessarily a prostitute, but like they think that's normal. Like you'll tell them like, look, this is fucking, I feel like I'm getting used here. But you can avoid that. There's also girls that want to hook up right away, just like they just want to have fun.
Hmm.
But you really have to navigate your way through the dating scene in Colombia. And now that there's more gringos there, there's a little bit more entitlement. But Colombia has some really fucking sexy girls. Like you'll walk around Medellin and just be like, damn, damn, damn.
How would you
You
rate?
have to spend time in Medellin. Like if you're gonna go to Medellin, go there for as long as you can, like at least 30 days, because you're gonna have to go on multiple dates. And you might, I don't know if I should say this, but you might need to fucking lie and be like, oh yeah, I'm about to live here.
That always works.
I mean,
That always works. See, for me, I can say that because I go places with no return ticket. Like I came to Paraguay and I'm like, yeah, I'm living here. And a lot of chicks didn't believe me.
it might end up coming true just because you say it to so many people like, yeah, I'm thinking about living here.
Hmm.
But no girl wants to hear like, I'm a gringo and I'm here for vacation, especially in a big city where there are a shit ton of gringos there. Like you need to be kind of a local.
Yeah, and
It used to not be like that. The first trip I went there,
but if you stay, so how long would you say somebody should stay in Medellin, Colombia, to what you call navigate through the dating scene there to get the best out of it?
you need 30 days. It's going to take you 2 weeks just to get laid.
Really?
It, I've talked to other dudes like that are going there now, and it's just getting harder.
Wow.
But it is better than dating in Miami.
Okay.
Because in Miami, you'll get a girl with that fucking same attitude, but she's like 30 years old. At least you have a shot of like a nice, 22-year-old girl in Medellin.
But
It's
they're
cheap.
building the attitude there in Medellin too.
Oh yeah, they'll get requests for like certain places. Like we should go to this restaurant. We should go. Like I said, it was 5 years ago. My dude would just tell girls like, "Hey, can you just come over to my apartment? There's not really any restaurants around here." Like
Did you date?
that's night and day different.
What other cities did you date in Colombia?
Um, Man, I checked out Bogota. I went to Cali. I went to Cartagena, but that was just like a weekend thing.
Hmm.
I didn't really date around. I went there just to go see like a specific girl.
Hmm. And you like Medellin the best for dating?
Medellin has the hottest chicks in Colombia. If you go anywhere else, you're going to be like, I don't know. Like there's people that like Bogota, but every time I've stepped into Bogota for a couple days for like a layover or whatever, you'll walk around and you're like, are these chicks even Colombian? Like they look like Peruvian or something. Like they look ugly.
Wow. So what would you say that dating in Medellin is still worth it with all the dangers that's going on right now?
I mean, depend if you're going to Medellin, you're most likely the type of like entrepreneur bro who's like trying to network with a bunch of like, you know, tech guys and guys with online businesses and shit like that. Because Medellin has all those gringos, so you can have a network of gringos with you. And it's a really nice city. Like it's a beautiful fucking place with the mountains and the culture is just vibrant there. The Paisa people are just they're just warm and they're friendly. It's fun. It's a vibe there.
Okay. Okay. So the next country, you've been to Brazil. How many cities have you been to in Brazil?
Brazil is where I realized like fuck this like staying in one city thing. Like I'm gonna go everywhere. And I went to 5 different places. I started in Rio. Like when you go to Brazil, you're gonna have to do Rio first to get your. I don't know if this is necessarily true. Everyone says this, like you need to go to Rio, so it's like a starter city. Like I don't know. I guess you could probably do the same thing in like Recife or something, you know.
You think
But
so?
I guess for me, I've already traveled. I was in Colombia, and I studied Portuguese before I went.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the main thing. Like you go to Rio, so you can get the training wheels of like, oh, I don't know Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And even in Rio, it's not a lot of people that know English in Rio, from what I've seen.
No, you're already fucked anyway.
Yeah,
On that
you
one.
have to know Portuguese going. That's why
You
I'm going to
got
use
Google
Duolingo.
Translate if you're really screwed. Like
Yeah.
if you travel, man, you're gonna have to be resourceful, bro. Like point at shit. Like I want that. Give me that.
Mm.
But I went to Rio first. I stayed in Rio. I went for Carnival. That was my first experience. Um, and at first I didn't like Rio because I was coming from Medellin where all the chicks have that like doll face and they're all young and pretty. And you go to Rio and they're a little bit older and you got like a more of a varied beauty standard there. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll have like a fat chick next to a stunner on the beach and you're like, what the fuck? There's a bunch of ugly
Yeah.
chicks here. But then I started dating there and I was like, oh, these dude, Brazilian girls, I don't want to talk shit, but this is a good thing. Is they're just you go on a date there, they're more likely to want to hook up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 3 date thing is probably not going to happen in Brazil, bro. Like,
No, I've
and
never
I'm
had
not
that.
trying to offend Brazilians or anything. They know that like kissing is like a big deal there.
Mm-hmm.
Like during Carnival, they all just like make out at the club, and they're just that's a good thing. I don't see it as a bad thing.
I like it.
They like to hook up, man,
So,
and that was refreshing coming from Medellin where I'm like, is this girl a hooker? Is it going to take me 3 dates to hook up with her? You know what I mean? And then it changed my mind on Brazil and I was like, I'm fucking staying here.
so what would you say was your favorite part of dating in Brazil? Like, what was it the kissing? Was it the quick hookups? Was it the femininity? Was it the beauty?
Well, it was really fun to learn Portuguese
Mm-hmm.
because I had already known Spanish and like, I like nerd out on that shit. Like people act like it's a chore, but I'm like, I need to know what this is and this grammar rule and like, how do you say this? And like, I like to pick it apart. And you learn Portuguese. You get to try it. Actually, Brazil like is a surprise when you get there because who knows anything about Brazilian culture? It's not like Mexican culture or Colombian culture where you've heard the music before, you've seen movies, and like you're warmed up to it. When you go to Brazil, you're like, what is this fucking pagode music and fucking
Mm-hmm.
funky and all this
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah.
It's a surprise, man. And the people don't look like what you think when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this looks like we're in the States. There's like black people, Asians, fucking white people with blue eyes.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you go further south in Brazil, they're way more exotic looking. Like you said, white people with blue eyes in Florianopolis and Porto Alegre.
And Brazilians are extroverted. Like they have no filter. That's the one thing I liked about it. Like if they get mad, they're gonna be mad. If they're fucking excited, they'll get
Mm-hmm.
excited. If they want to kiss you, they'll kiss you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't hold back, which is kind of fun.
Yes, I will 100% agree with that. Brazil is still my number one worldwide. No matter what happened or anything like that, it's still a very, very great place to be at. So you've been to Paraguay as well. How would you describe dating here in Paraguay?
Man, Paraguay almost felt like it was like a mix. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's at the crossroads of like a bunch of different countries. We're literally surrounded by like 5 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Argentinians here, you got Brazilians, you have Germans here and fucking Korean people, which was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. The girls here are really humble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about the sugar baby thing like Colombia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not as eager to hook up, I guess. I don't want to say this in like any offensive way, but like they're not you might have to go on 2 or 3 dates.
You're not fucking first date, yeah, but
And they listen to Brazilian music here. They eat Brazilian food. They might have like relatives that are Brazilian.
A lot of Brazilians here.
Sometimes I forget we're even in Paraguay because like the girls, their bodies like look like Brazilian chicks. It's a melting pot. It's a boring place, which is good for dating, I think, because you don't have to deal with like the friend group, the fucking concerts,
It's
the
not much to
other
do at all.
dudes. Yeah.
So yeah, you get a. It's more for, I would say, it's more for expert level travelers. I wouldn't put this as a first time out of the country travel place.
You'll be bored.
You need a place like Santiago, Rio, or Medellin where there's a lot of action outside of women.
This is like being in like Cleveland, Ohio or something.
Yeah, I could see that. It's like being in a small, a major city with nothing really to do.
We got like 2 malls.
Yeah.
But it's nice. There's enough restaurants and like rooftops and shit. The girls here though, you could, like if you want a girlfriend, like a loyal girlfriend who treats you like a real man, like you'll find them in Paraguay.
Absolutely. I will 100% agree. So, out of the 4 countries you've been to in Latin America so far, what would you put as your number 1 for dating as an American?
For me, I don't think this is for everybody because people say, have different opinions about it. Brazil. Brazil is the most fun, and it's big. And it's big. Brazil isn't really like one country. That's a giant place, like the size of the United States.
Yeah, it's a completely different culture in Salvador versus Porto Alegre.
Brazil is one of those places where I want to go to, like all the different cities. Like living. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could live in Rio.
I could live there, but after experiencing all the other cities and you want to be around less gringos, you want more Brazilian culture, I would rather live in Florianopolis or Porto Alegre or something like that.
I think I would rather live in like a medium-sized city. If it's like you got to stay here for a year, because a big ass place like Rio is expensive and people have that big city attitude and people live far away from the beach.
Okay. So yeah, I would agree with you on that as well. Brazil is my number 1 country still in Latin America for dating. I still recommend you guys start there first. Do not come to places like Paraguay or Uruguay if you're not an expert level traveler and you don't know how to occupy your free time, because you will get bored in these places very soon. I mean, it's more stuff to do in Uruguay than it is Paraguay, but I would say that Uruguay, you'll be bored throughout the week, and on the weekend, you may be a little more busy. For me, my number 1 country is still Brazil. My last country for me, and I'd have to retry it again, it would be Argentina in Latin America. Now, the next question is, since we're both technically expats, I haven't been to the States in 15 months. You've been outside of the States long enough, I guess, to call yourself an expat, or you live abroad and you would tell somebody back home. What is your true feelings on the United States, the climate it's in now, and where it will be in the future, even just outside of dating as a whole? What is your opinion on the United States?
It's a good place for business. You can trust people business-wise. Like, say you want to get involved in real estate, or there's rules that people follow there. I hate driving everywhere. Like most cities in the United States are designed for driving. The dating is, everyone knows, like it's just it's a
nobody goes to the United States looking for a wife.
If I had to tie myself to a job where I had to be in the United States, I guess I could put up with it if there was like a money thing, but I would take less money to live here.
Absolutely. So you're willing to take a pay cut in exchange for a better social life?
Yeah, but it's not really just the social life. It's the cost of living. It's how the cities are designed. It's the weather. Like most places in the United States are cold half the year. Like unless you want to live in Miami, but you're going to pay $2,000 for rent and like, $4,000. It's going to be about $7K a month just to fucking hang out and be a normal dude in
Yeah.
fucking Miami.
Yeah, to do what we're doing here, it would be unimaginable. Like me catching 4 or 5 Ubers a day would easily run $50 plus at the
Ubers are like
distance we go.
$2 here, man.
Yeah, you can travel all day around most of these Latin American countries for like $15 on Uber, and you could be going around all day.
Food's cheap. Like we eat at that same place at the mall every day. It costs $10 for like juicy fucking steaks and sides and a drink.
Do you feel safer in these cities in Latin America as opposed to the United States?
I mean, there's parts of the United States that are really fucking dangerous. But it's dangerous in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certain parts of the city. There's definitely like Latin America is definitely more dangerous overall. But you can find places in Latin America that are safer than cities in the United States.
So why would you say Latin America is more, and I know why, but why would you say Latin America is more dangerous overall as opposed to the U.S.?
I mean, which country are we talking about? Brazil and Colombia are dangerous.
Well, I think as a whole, Latin America may be more dangerous because just like anywhere else in the world, they have drug trafficking and gangs, but the corruption and the lack of the actual law enforcement and judicial system working properly like it would in the States allows for it to run rampant the way it does.
I just think that I'm the type of person that doesn't really care about danger. I'm like, people are like, is it dangerous? Is it safe? Like, dude, like live a little. What are they going to do? Steal your fucking phone? Like, just stay home then. Like, I wish people that ask that question were like, yeah, I'm not going to go. Because then you have all these fucking dudes who are just not, I don't want to say they're not street smart because that could fucking happen to me tomorrow. But like, I don't know. As far as danger goes, you got Colombia. That is like dating is dangerous. Everyone knows. Like, I had a friend who got kidnapped there.
Really?
Yeah. Some girl was like, yeah, we're gonna go to a nightclub tonight and I got a bottle service. Which is like, what girl, no girl in Medellin has enough money to get bottle service. But it was his first 24 hours in Medellin. And she came and picked him up in an SUV with 3 dudes in there. And they fucking held a gun to his head and like, were like, yo, transfer $20,000 to this account. They beat the shit out of him. Yeah, it was scary. That shit happens every single day in Medellin. Now, where we're at in Paraguay is safer than being in Philadelphia.
How did they know? Yeah, it is. How did they know that he had $20,000 to transfer?
You know, I don't think he gave me the full details about it, but it was a kidnapping and a fucking extortion.
Yeah, because I would just, if somebody asked for that number, I could only imagine if you don't
they
have
just come up with a number that like, we need this. Let's see if we can get it. Call your parent.
Yeah, okay, that sort of situation. Yeah, ransom. They're holding you for ransom at that point. Yeah.
But not every country's the same in South America. I hope everybody just thinks everywhere is like Medellin, Colombia. I'm just gonna stay here in the United States, and all women are the same all over the world, and it's might as well figure it out here in fucking Dallas or whatever.
If you guys believe that all women are, because I don't like you guys that say that. When you guys say,
you have no idea. Yeah. The people saying that have never traveled. If you literally left for a month, you would be like, I'm considering trying to get a job to get out of here.
Yeah. It took me 1 week, and I text my mom, I'm moving to Brazil. She blew it off like, oh, he's just talking. I went back a second time. I said, Mom, I got to figure out a way to get out of here. And then she could feel it, and she could feel my energy. It took that second trip to be like, yeah, and that was 3 weeks in total. I was like, yeah, like I gotta get out of here. But you guys that think that women are the same worldwide, I don't like you guys because you got, like he said, you guys haven't traveled. If you guys have traveled, you've been to less than 5 countries. And if you did go to more than 5 countries, you had a fucked up mindset and you were looking at the women in a negative way while you're there. Because there's no way you can believe that a woman that grew up speaking a different language with a different history on a different side of the world acts the same way as one on the other side of the world with the exact opposite.
Women, they are the same. Because if you took a girl from, one country and brought her to the United States, she'll very quickly adapt. But culture is different.
Culture and laws makes them behave differently.
It's culture, man.
So people like, this is another thing people like say is like, oh, well, women at their core, they're the same. Thanks for telling me that. But what's the reality? The reality is if I go to Saudi Arabia, a woman cannot raise her voice at me. You know what I
They
mean?
also say that, oh, those girls just want your money, and I'm like,
That's worldwide.
that's just not true at all. Like, there's a few places where girls are known for asking for money, and that's not even all the girls in that place. In the most gold digger places, there's still like literally most of the girls are not gold diggers. A few of them ruin it for the reputation, which is good because I hope that people just don't figure it out. But I mean, this is all on the internet now.
But I make these videos for you guys. I brought a guest on so we could have another opinion. If you guys don't want to believe this stuff, keep paying dating coaches $4,000. Keep learning how to do a damn science project to approach a woman, and then learning how to wait 10 days later to text her back after you get her no. Deal with that shit. Meanwhile, we'll be over here, we'll be in other places in the world where it's normal. You can let your guard down a bit and be yourself. You don't have to worry about talking on the phone and then say, oh yeah, women just have nice bodies. Why are you objectifying them? You don't have to worry about hearing dumb shit like that. Meanwhile, places like Latin America, women know what men want. That's why they get the plastic surgery. That's why they stay in the gym. They don't mind men looking at them. But where you're at in a Western country, men looking at women is offensive somehow. And then those same women complain about no men wanting to talk to them, but you brush off the guys that show interest. Meanwhile, I remember one day I was here in Paraguay and I was with you, and there was those two chicks going up the Escalade. And one of them had already kind of like checked me out a little bit. We got behind them, and she moved her legs in a way where her ass would poke out a little more.
It's completely
And
normal.
that they know I'm gonna hook them with this.
What girls will do in the States if they're interested in you, they'll start like mean mugging you. They'll give you like the shit eye and shit. When you're like, why are you looking at me like you're angry that I'm in your presence? But I think they're actually checking you out. I used to just,
They call it a masculinity test. They're testing you, shit testing you.
Yeah. But, places like Colombia, everybody stares at you. It's normal to stare there.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was me, like, oh, they think I'm handsome or whatever. My dude was telling me, like, no, everybody just stares here.
Yeah.
And here in Paraguay, you've been showing me the thing where you just stare at a girl and smile and then wave. And then it's like,
works every time.
Ready for the approach. I've never seen anybody do that. Shit's crazy.
It's so simple. If I see a chick I like, I'll stare until she looks in my direction. When she looks, I wave and I smile. I know everything I need to know right on the spot.
Can you do that in the States?
I used to, but before I started leaving,
I mean, of course
abroad,
you can. Everything works.
You could do it, but whenever I would wave, I would often get like a mean look, or it would be something that would make me want to quit. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. That's why I haven't been back.
They'll try to make you feel like an idiot.
Yeah, they'll try to make you feel like shit.
You could do a lot of cold approach in the States and have fun and still get women. Like, Miami is one place where you can still get a lot of girls because it's full of chicks from overseas. But you need some money to be there.
That's the downside.
If you got money, Miami's not bad.
Okay, so we covered that. So we just talked about the waving and smiling. Let's talk about for some guys that are only relying on choosing signals. They don't know how to code approach. They want to learn how to code approach. Jason and I have been here in Paraguay. We've been pretty much sharpening our skills of code approach, and we've been getting a lot of practice in it here at the malls and stuff like that. Why would you say men should code approach rather than depend on dating apps, Instagram, and waiting on women to send choosing signals?
Man, before you got here, I forgot about cold approach. I was like lazy and just relying on dating apps. I did meet one girl from a somewhat cold approach thing. It was more just like we happened to be talking to each other. But why they're better? When you use Tinder, the first week or two, they will show you all the hot girls that are using Tinder in that place. Now, if you're staying there for a couple of months, all of a sudden that all dries up. And when you go to the mall, you can see what they look like right away. And you can't get catfished or any of that shit. It's more of a fun experience. You're getting out of your comfort zone instead of just sitting there swiping on your phone. Some cities are good for cold approach and some aren't. Like we have these malls here and you can run around and cold approach all day.
Mm-hmm.
And there just happens to be, you know what? There's better looking chicks in real life. Like you'll see the models at the fucking mall because
Mm-hmm.
she's going to Zara to get an outfit, but she doesn't even use Tinder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those chicks are like, oh, I would never even touch that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a higher quality chick, you know, you might get lucky on Tinder, but you're getting the sixes.
You want to know exactly what you're dealing with too.
Yeah.
Like the chicks we met at the mall today, their profile picture on WhatsApp, you would be like sending pictures like, oh, look who I met today. But when I saw her in person, it was just kind of like oh, she's cute. Like, she's fuckable. Like, it wasn't nothing to get excited about. But looking online, everything can be edited, makeup. They have AI that does all this stuff for people now. So it's better that you meet what you want in person. And if you're in a city where you're not seeing a lot of women on a daily basis, you need to go somewhere else. Because when you do run into women that are attractive, you won't know what the hell to do because you're not getting enough interaction in the first place. So, what is. Hold on. How do you react whenever you get rejected from cold approach? 'Cause I know a number of men that when a woman rejects them, like, oh, well, fuck you, bitch. Just because she says no or she ignores them. It's one thing if she goes off on you and tries to clown you, make you look stupid. But even then, I wouldn't say that. But what is your reaction whenever a woman is denying you, and how is it getting denied abroad versus in the States?
Okay. Yeah, I think like reacting to it and getting butthurt is like a rookie thing.
Yeah.
You like take it personally because you don't realize that this is all random.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you feel if somebody came up to you while you're shopping and was just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you would be kind of annoyed. Like, I am. Like, I don't want to talk to random people.
Yeah.
So, you getting rejected doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you personally. Like, you kind of have to take yourself out of it
Mm-hmm.
and drop your ego and just be like, this is a numbers game. I need to do 10 of these today. And like, what's funny is the girls that don't give you the best reaction might be the one that you end up going on a date with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been doing this for a long time. So it's just kind of like it's just a process.
Mm-hmm.
As far as rejections in the States versus here, they're just harsher in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll sit there talking to a girl for 20 minutes and she's just, this isn't every girl in the States either. Some girls are fucking really nice, but you'll get more bad reactions in the States where the girl will act like you're a creep. Like, what are you doing here? What is this? I forget how it is. Like when you ask me the questions about the States, I'm like, damn, let me try to like remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's horrible, bro. Like, I remember sitting there talking to some girl at the mall and we had like a 20-minute conversation and the vibe was all good. And I was like, so let's hang out sometime. Let me get your number. And she was like, I don't meet people like this. Like, she's like, I don't meet strangers. And one, she was new in town, so she knew nobody. And then the second thing, I saw her on Hinge like a couple weeks later. So she tried to make it look like what I was doing was like, this isn't how people meet,
Yeah. I don't have time for
The
that
chicks in
shit.
the States listen to too many podcasts and they've been like hacked. Their minds have been hacked by whatever this is. Cause I'm older than you. Like I remember when it wasn't like that
Mm-hmm.
or it wasn't as bad.
So, what would you say is it like to get rejected in a Latin American country? Like, how do they handle that? I know you said it's harsh in the States. What has been your experience and elsewhere?
Okay, Brazil. You get some harsh reactions
Mm-hmm.
in Rio for sure. Those
Mm-hmm.
girls, if they don't like you, they'll just fucking move around you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, those are kind of harsh. But they won't talk shit to you. They won't like
No.
try to fucking like down like an American girl. Rejections in Medellin. The first time I went there, bro, the girls there were like, their eyes would light up when you'd approach them. And you would get their number and they would start calling you, like, what's going on? I thought we had a date. And then 5 years later, now they're getting attitude. Now they're acting like, oh, just another gringo.
Mm-hmm.
But they are super sweet. Like the Colombians are known for being sweet and warm and just pleasant. Just they're proper, They're not gonna fucking. They know that you're a man coming up with balls to talk to them, and you'll get more respect than being in the States.
Mm-hmm. So in Paraguay, how would you say the rejections go whenever they reject you here? Like, what's something that they commonly say whenever it
Man,
doesn't
have
go
we
your
even
way?
gotten rejected, bro?
The past couple of days, we haven't gotten rejected.
They will like tell you they're sorry. Like
Yeah,
they'll be like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm sorry. Like I've married." And dude, that one married chick fucking still talking to me.
yeah, yeah. The good thing about places like
Cold
this is
approach
you
here
can,
is fun, man.
yeah, you can get their Instagram. Like if you
We
get
got
rejected,
rejected at night
when?
when we went out at night.
Oh yeah, yeah. Going out to clubs in Paraguay seems like a waste of time to me. But pretty much going about throughout your day is fine. But in Latin America, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, if I got rejected, I would say, "Oh, here, give me your Instagram." 9 times out of 10, really 99 out of 100, you will get the Instagram for the most part. And then I call that the dating funnel, where they're in your orbit now, where they're watching what you're doing now.
What do you consider a rejection?
So if I ask you like for your number, I say, "Hey, we should meet together sometime," or like the time we met those two chicks.
And they're like, "Why?
And yeah, and they're like,
Why would I
"Why?
do
Why do
that?"
you like?" I asked a chick, "What is your name? Why?" Have a nice day. Don't
They're
don't worry about it then.
That's just called being rude.
Yeah.
And in Latin America, they aren't rude because they have tradition and culture here.
hmm
And I don't know what the fuck you call that. People
Yeah.
are just nasty in the
Yeah.
States. We're known, like the girls there will say, aren't Americans like really cold?
hmm hmm
Like, ustedes son muy fríos, no?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess we have that reputation.
So, what are some techniques that you use whenever you cold approach? Like, what is your strategy?
Um, Man, I'll just like walk up to them and I'll be like, hey, and I'll just be like, I just seen you over there. I just thought you were cute. I wanted to meet you.
hmm
Or I'll just say hello and then whatever comes to mind, like I'll kind of just say hello and smile and see their reaction and then go
You
off.
feed off their energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's usually something along the lines of like, I saw you when I was over there and I came over here. What's your name? You're really pretty.
hmm
Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? And then it's like some sort of, let me get your Instagram or what are you doing this weekend?
hmm And if they're really interested, one thing I'll do is I'll say, "So, what are you doing later?"
Yeah.
If it seems like they're really digging me and they're smiling, and even if they touch me, I know I can smash right then and there. So I'm like, "So what are you doing later?" And it's best whenever they can walk from the spot where you approached them to the next place. Now you're definitely fucking. I'm just gonna say that. If they follow you from there to another place,
They call it
you're fucking.
it's an insta date. Like you guys
Yeah,
immediately have
instant
a
date.
little date.
Yeah. So I give you guys. I'm not gonna give you guys all my game. Y'all gonna have to pay me for all the game. But one technique that I always tell you guys is if somebody is walking in front of you and you see them glance at you, turn around completely until they are not in your eyesight. Him and I did this
That
the other
works.
day. I turned around, I was like, "Wait, I bet you she's gonna look back at us." I saw her glance out the corner of her eye. They walked like for like a whole 30 or 45 seconds. Then they turned around and I was right there waving, waiting. I ended up fucking one of them. And so
We both did.
we
Smashed two
both, yeah.
sisters.
Two sisters. So that, I knew a guy, arrogant asshole. He was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna turn around. I'm not turning around on nobody." Well, I'm sorry to tell you, you're leaving a lot of pussy on the table.
The simplest techniques are the ones that works. Like these dating coaches are like, I have a fucking A to Z course of the scientific method, and it's like this dude's just fucking waving at girls.
Yeah, it works.
I'm like, why didn't I think of that? You're just like, hey, and they fucking came over.
I thought of that because, yeah, and they came over. I
Like, what's
thought
your
of that.
Instagram?
Yeah, I thought of that because whenever I would see chicks and I would make eye contact and I didn't know what to say, I was like, what's a good way to break the ice? Well, what do they do? I've seen women in movies wave at men. Let me try that. It hasn't failed me yet.
You do have to admit, though, you have to be a pretty good looking dude for that to work.
Yeah, no. You have to have
You're
some
gonna have to
sort
do
of sex
something
appeal.
else if you're.
Yeah, if you don't have that, you have to have some sort of style, nice hair. Like something has to be wave material.
I don't know though. A smile and a wave could go a long way. Like
It
if
could make you
someone
more
waves at
attractive.
you, you might just wave back or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's a good icebreaker, but like you said, if you're a good looking guy, it's flawless to work. But if you're below average, first of all, if you're below average, and if we're talking about style, out of shape, maybe, haircut. If it's something you can change, fix it. We can't fix your facial features. I mean, let's go get plastic surgery. So if this is what it is for the most part. But if it's something you could change, upgrade your skills so you can wave at women, and they're like, "Oh, he just waved at me." Because I do that all the time, and I see them tell their friends like, "Oh shit, he just waved at me." When they do that, now you know you got them. Because why would she get that excited if she wasn't interested? So let's talk about a huge upcoming problem we have here in the United States. Well, there in the United States, and you cracked a joke about this yesterday. Let's tell the truth about incels traveling. And I'm sorry to insult you guys, but it is a proper term, incels, I guess. What is an incel? In my opinion, an incel is somebody that pretty much is locked in a closet, no interaction. They don't know how to converse with women. They're more than likely out of shape and haven't cut their hair in 6 months. And they don't go to the gym. Like I said, they're out of shape. They're just very, very awkward in modern society. You take them to the mall, they'll stand out because something's just not right about them. Let's say that. So people watch my videos and they say, "Oh, like, and I've never told you guys this. I don't know why some guys think this. Oh, Austin said, if you're not getting any play in the States and you're a virgin because you're so awkward, if you just go to Brazil to work." Not what the hell I said. If you have basic understanding of women and you can make a woman laugh at least one time an hour, going to these other places, it'll be a day and night difference.
Brazil isn't even an easy place, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil, you have a shit ton of competition.
There is a lot of competition.
The place is like intimidating, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as far as like if you're not getting any girls in the States and then you go overseas, you're not going to get anything. Well, yeah, you're probably not going to get anything else because you're not self-aware. That's why you don't dress right, you don't work out.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really even trying to play to win.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably just not self-aware. It's a lot of these like autistic type guys or people with but I will tell you, I do have a friend from the States who gets zero play in the States, and when he travels, he gets something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
bare minimum.
It's like you move up like a point or a point and a half when you leave the States. Or
I would agree. So if you could only get 6s or 8, let's say you could only get 6s in the States, you might max out at an 8 in Brazil. Yeah, if you can get 8s in the States, you can get the best of the best.
You have more opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably get more of what you're already getting.
So what would you recommend an incel? What would you have to say to those people that think that I'm telling people traveling is a cheat code? It's not just some magical solution of turning dust into gold. It's a cheat code.
It's like you went to a better club. Like you go to one club and everyone's trashy and shit, and you could probably pull some like the hottest girl in that club who's like a fucking 4. Or you could go to the place where all the 10s are hanging out.
Mm.
There's just the reason why it's better down here is because there's more hot women walking around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like
their value goes down because there's too many of them.
Yeah, and they're normal.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, they have the culture that everyone's thinking in their mind, like this is how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Man and woman dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
So what would you say an incel needs to practice on? Somebody that would identify.
The world needs incels, bro. I do not want a bunch of fucking pimps out here.
Yeah, no, we do need some people that do.
Why are there? Okay, what could an incel do if he wants to level up?
Mm-hmm.
You need to be in the gym. Like first off, be in the gym, and you should be comfortable with cold approach. You should do a shitload of that. You should do about a year of like just even in the States, you could learn how to do this. Like, say you're a young guy and you're doing this for the first time. You need to like go find some wingmen or something and just approach every fucking day for like a year, like 10 approaches a day. Just like go crazy with it. And then you need to learn how to take pictures because we're living in fucking 2024. You need to get good at taking pictures, editing your pictures, what a good setting for pictures looks like the background, how to look high status. Like you 100% need a decent or really good Instagram nowadays. And yeah, I don't know. Why are you an incel? You want to be. Obviously, you're just not self-aware and you're like, what am I doing wrong? I've met a lot of guys who are just they're autistic or something, man.
Mm-hmm.
They have no self-awareness.
So truly, they need to do self-improve. Like the dating coaches say, look at your inner self. Well, some of you guys, that is true. Some of you guys complain about chicks in the States, and it is you sometimes. There is a problem, so it's not all of us. But there are some of you guys, I'm like, I don't think you have the right to
A lot of
complain.
dudes are just have this defeatist mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll be complaining all the time and they just wallow and love complaining about their situation. And I'm like, dude, you you're not even trying. You don't believe that you can do this. You're just
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not me. It's it's these girls are fucking. It's the fucking patriarch, whatever it is. It's
Patriarchy, yeah.
not the patriarchy, but it's the culture. It's the fucking, you know.
Something that's out of their control that they couldn't change anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question I have is becoming bilingual. We've talked about people that want to come to Latin America, or maybe this is mainly an issue with Latin America. It's not really an issue with the Asian countries, African countries, or European countries, because people know English more often in those places. What do you have to say? First of all, how long did it take you to learn? You know Portuguese and Spanish. How long did it take you to learn Portuguese?
Okay. Well, I learned Spanish first.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you already know Spanish, Portuguese is going to take you like 3 months to become conversational. But I'm talking like you're studying for an hour a day. When people say you need to learn the language before you get there, it's more like you need about 2 months before you go on your trip of hour or two a day
Mm-hmm.
of studying something in that language.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be this like you got to take an exact course or do this certain thing. No, you could literally just like watch YouTube videos on it or get a teacher. That's what I did. I got a teacher, like a Zoom call, over Zoom calls, like classes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just dove into it, man. You got to immerse yourself in that language. And, 2 months before you go is something. It's better than nothing. So people are like, oh, I don't want to have to learn a language that's going to take me 4 years. It's like, no, you need to just like get the ball rolling.
It's going to take 4 years to perfect it.
Yeah, you need that, like, at least participate.
Yeah.
And what someone told me before I went to Colombia the first time, they were like, the more Spanish you learn before you get here, the more fun you're going to have. I knew I wasn't going to learn the whole language.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, let me, be able to say like 5 words or like a couple of phrases.
Mm-hmm.
And the more all the girls you start meeting, you're like, oh, this shit works. Like they're understanding me and I'm understanding them. It's like motivation to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Spanish took me, the first 6 months is like really hard because it was my first like language to learn. You have to like break your brain a little bit. And then like a year in, you're like, okay, I can see everything. I can see the layout. And then 2 years in, and then you go live somewhere where you're using the language all the time. That's when you get like, I guess you could say fluent.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you guys definitely have to be bilingual if you want to. If you're going to Brazil for a week, okay. But like he said, if you want to have the most fun, because a lot of people don't know English in Brazil like you would think they do. Even in Rio, being an international hub for tourists, English is not as big as you think there. There's more English speakers in Sao Paulo, Rio than in other places, but you have to be I don't know how to break this shit down any further. You guys had to be bilingual. I've had people leave comments saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna teach the women how to learn English."
No.
What I get from that is, first of all, you if you want her to be your girl, you still have to interact with her family. Her family's still gonna pressure who she picks to be with forever, right? How is her father gonna co-sign you and he doesn't even know what the fuck you're saying? You gonna teach the whole family English? Who the fuck are you? Like
you're just like the more the language you learn, the better your results will be.
yeah.
You don't have to learn language. You could just show up and use Google Translate You could go on it. I use Google Translate on dates,
Yeah.
but you're kind of a loser if you're not trying. It's kind of just like everybody else is gonna look at you like, man. I've met gringos that live in Brazil and Colombia. They're like, oh, I don't want to try, man. I have a busy life.
Yeah, and
Like,
people aren't
dude,
gonna
get out
respect.
of here.
They're not gonna. Women aren't gonna appreciate you as much because you're not diving into their culture.
It is not that hard either. It is. I've done way harder. There's way harder things to learn than learning a language. It is simple as fuck. Like put on some YouTube videos and take some notes in your notebook.
Use Duolingo. It makes it a
Duolingo.
game.
It's a video game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay.
You don't have to learn the whole language, no. But the more of it you learn, I guarantee you, the more fun you'll have. And give it 30 days in that country, you'll be like surprised how fast you pick up a lot of the language.
I forgot what I was about to say on the next point about being bilingual. I forgot. Okay. So let's talk about becoming an expat. Would you consider yourself an expat already? A part-time expat, more say.
I just recently decided to get residency in Paraguay. So, temporary residency is, I'm getting into the expat. Like, there's no chance I'm going back to the States. What I've been doing is just going from country to country and using up the allowed tourist days. So you could say I'm an expat. I just, I'm doing the Airbnb Uber life thing over here where I'm not, I got 2 suitcases and I live out of those suitcases. And I'm in this Airbnb in this country. And then I get bored after a couple months and just go to the next one. So yeah, I'm somewhat of an expat.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge about being an expat? Like, what's the biggest challenge for you as being an expat?
You're gonna need the money.
That's the biggest problem. Yes,
I had money before I did this. Like, I have rental properties. I'm in real estate, and like during like the pandemic and shit, I was planning my escape. Like, after this is over, I'm completely out of here. Like, I was already setting my life up to do something big. And then I went to Colombia for the first time and it was like, yep, I got the money and, I got this fucking passive income. But I'm still figuring out new ways to make more money. Like, you need multiple streams. And yeah, this isn't for somebody who wants to work construction or some shit like that. You need to be able to think outside the box to live this kind of lifestyle.
And do not come to these countries looking for a job. If you're in the United States, if you're in England, you're coming from the land of opportunity. When you come to South, like, people are not lying about these wealth gaps and these unfair advantage, the unfair societies in the economies in these other countries. Don't come to Paraguay thinking, first of all, you're gonna be making like $4 a fucking hour. I mean, so.
Well, they just won't let you. I guess if you got a fucking citizenship somewhere, you could technically get a job. But what was I gonna say?
But who?
Yeah, there's downsides to doing this, man. Like, some of these visas aren't super easy to get. There's people that get denied all the time, and it's like, it can be rough. You could have a fucking relationship with a girl, and then you don't get the visa, and now you're stuck outside the country for 6 months, or they don't got fucking Amazon here. You can't just like order whatever the fuck you want.
Huge difference when it comes to ordering packages. When you're outside the United States, ordering things is usually not as easy because the neighborhoods aren't set up the same.
There's a lot of people that come to like Medellin, like these fresh gringos that go, and they're super like bougie about everything. Like, why don't they have this? Why doesn't this work? Like, when you go to Brazil, your fucking card might not even work, man. Like, you're gonna have to figure that out. Like, bring a couple of debit cards, have a fucking backup. You don't have your bank here, but you need to be adaptable. If you're not that kind of person, you need to be like with your family. Making friends is hard. Like, if you're not used to being like a loner.
Especially if there's a language barrier. Makes it even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But I like what you said,
man.
adapting. People have to learn how to adapt. There's
not for everybody.
Yeah, like there's nothing to do here in Paraguay, but I love it here because I was able to adapt. Okay, well, let me use this time in Paraguay to do this. And then when I want to go somewhere that's a little more lively, I can go to Santiago. That's a place I found now that I like. I can adapt there. The dating scene there is you cannot be here for 2 weeks in Chile and think you're going to get a lot of action. It's less like Medellin where you say you're going to have to be there 3 weeks or longer to actually get the hang of it and actually give time for them to actually put you in the position to even see them again. So you have to be able to adapt to those situations. If you're used to the DR, well, first of all, y'all are paying for prostitutes anyway, but if you're used to the DR where you can smash first couple of hours and then you can't adapt, you want to go to Chile, you like my Chilean videos, but you can't adapt to that dating
It's an
culture here, it's
8-hour
going to be
flight
hard.
too.
Huh?
So it's an 8-hour flight or like a 10-hour flight to Chile too. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why those guys always go to DR or
Mhm.
Colombia because they can just be a weekend warrior. Like
Mhm.
3-hour flight from Miami, just hang out for a week and go back.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too. A lot of people don't have the patience. Like I know some people that are like, man, I really want to do what you're doing, but I can't handle that 8-hour flight. Let me tell you, an 8-hour flight to me, I've been around the world so many times now. An 8-hour flight feels like
That's
3 hours to
nothing,
me.
dude.
8-hour flight, what that sounds like to me is go to sleep, pick the night flight, go to sleep. I wake up in Brazil the next morning. That's what it sounds like to me. There's no technique, in my opinion, to being able to withstand a flight. You just get on the flight, and once you're in the sky, you gotta endure it. What you gonna do?
Yeah, we're not all built the same, man. Like, there's people on YouTube and shit. They're like, you got to be an entrepreneur. And it's like, not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur. Just like not everybody's built to be like, I'm going to travel all the time and
Mm-hmm.
go live in these foreign countries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of not a good, like, I don't think that's for everybody.
Yeah.
Like some dudes are stuck in the States for one reason or another, not, 100% stuck there, but they'd want to keep that job and they got their family and all that shit, or they got kids. But for me, that would feel like prison.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, I have to fucking come up with some way.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you could do the part-time traveling thing. Just fly over to Colombia, enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, but
Go for 3 months.
yeah, do what you guys can. If you can't handle the 10, I mean, I don't know what it is. Somebody can do it because you guys are going away to Thailand and that's the longest flight. I mean, my longest flight that I've been on my entire life, I think was 18 hours coming from Poland to Argentina. It was 17 or 18 hours total. Now that to me felt like an 8-hour flight, but that's because I've been flying. You have to actually condition your mind.
That is a brutal flight.
Yeah, it was because you sleep 8 hours, you wake up and it's like that's like less than half of the flight.
Yeah.
So luckily I was writing books and all this so I have shit to do while I'm on the plane, but you have to plan your sleep schedule. That's really the only technique I can say is plan your sleep schedule around it. So when you get to the destination, you would be at your usual. So I got to Buenos Aires that day at midnight, but I made sure I slept a certain amount of time. So whenever I got there, I would go to sleep again. So I went to sleep at 1 a.m. and then woke up at like 8 a.m. So I was able to jump right back in the mix and skip the whole jet lag thing. But that's something you learn from traveling after a while. Now, you said that you do about money. You said you do crypto. How is crypto? Could you tell, because I don't know, could you tell everybody how is crypto traveling? How is that working
Well,
together?
you can do that anywhere, you can you can invest in crypto from your phone. This year is like we were in a bull market like the last 2 years, and this year things are starting to pop off again. So you kind of know like when the cycles are for that. That's more of like an investing thing. But for guys who are traveling, there's a lot of guys who trade forex and stocks and cryptos and shit. And you don't need a boss for that. It's a super hard skill. That's another thing that like most people can't handle because you can lose a lot of fucking money doing it. But yeah, if you like trading and fucking interested in cryptocurrencies, I guess, put Bitcoin's at about 43,000 right now. And by the end of 2024, it's probably going to be double that.
Mm.
But that's an investing thing. That's not, trading would be more like a job, day trading.
So how long would you say it take you to learn how to day trade?
That takes like 2 years.
Wow. Wow. So that's not a easy, quick fix for somebody that wants to learn how to live abroad. They need to
Yeah, I
have
mean
that down pat.
that's something that I'm like learning myself right now. I'm still really, really new to that, but I can see a future in that
Mm-hmm.
for me. That's like another stream of income. Maybe it won't work out. You know, I've already made a good amount of money in crypto. That's something that I can kind of count on. Other types of trading though, like trading forex and trading indices and shit, is something I'm trying to get a hold on.
Okay.
But you know, there's a lot of dudes that are traveling that's what they're into is crypto and trading.
Okay.
You got that, you got crypto, you got people that are doing like online, you know, Amazon businesses like Amazon FBA and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just you got to have that entrepreneur mindset.
Mm-hmm. You have they have the mindset to just figure out something that who's gonna pay you today. What way are you gonna get paid?
Yeah, you got a laptop and you got like, you know, you don't even have to be an entrepreneur. You can just you can go work for a company. You can go be a software engineer, fucking cybersecurity or whatever.
Okay.
Those guys get paid the most. Like those guys are getting like the $200,000 a year.
Okay. So last question. I'm gonna leave this for the last one because we have another one, but you already touched on it earlier. What is it like solo traveling? You've been to every country so far by yourself.
Yeah. You know, I thought it would be this thing where I would get like lonely or whatever, but it's not. I'm just not that kind of person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like being by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have all these women to date, so it doesn't really feel like
Mm-hmm.
you're without anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can find other expats.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually when two Americans meet in one of these places, it's like, oh, let's fucking hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, you know, Telegram groups, there's fucking Facebook groups, shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always resources to find other Americans, but I say you guys need to get ready to solo travel because you cannot always depend on your friends to meet you in places. You will spend probably years waiting on a friend to meet you in a place. You need to have enough balls and guts to go travel to South Africa by yourself first and say, hey, I'm out here. Or just call them and say, hey, I'm leaving on this date. If you want to go, go. But I can't wait on you because other people have kids, they have jobs, they
It's
have other
intimidating.
shit going, and they might be afraid of Brazil.
It's very intimidating to go travel to a foreign country for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when you get off the plane, you're like, oh fuck. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then it just gets normal. Like I feel more at home here anywhere in Latin America than like just like I'm in the States.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, traveling alone is very important. So we did about an hour and a half so far in this interview. Do you have any other points you would like to throw in there? Shout out your Instagram for anybody that may be watching.
Yeah, my Instagram's Jason underscore arts world. Yeah.
We'll tag it down at the bottom. So you guys will see us in Bolivia. I appreciate y'all watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. Leave a comment on what you would like for us to talk about next. Share this video with somebody that may find it useful. Share it with an incel. And if you really enjoyed that content, hit the Cash App at $Austin Holloman. Also, make sure you check out the Patreon. I put all the dating stories, all the behind the scenes information on the Patreon, and the Chile memoir is on the way. I have 1 day left of writing this, so make sure you click the link below to pre-order and get your copy now.